Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's sports podcast. It's Friday, the 5th of August 2022, and there's only one place to start today. That's by saying congratulations to the Lionesses on winning the Women's Euro 2022 tournament last Sunday, beating Germany in the final by 2 goals to 1 after extra time. What a game it was to watch! Really exciting. Fantastic achievement by the girls. Superb goal, first goal by Ella Toon, chipping the ball from about 30 yards over the keeper's head, and then it might have been a scruffy goal in extra time, but Chloe Kelly's second attempts of stabbing the ball over the line worked, and it was the winning goal for England. And success and a massive celebration the following day in Trafalgar Square. Well deserved, working so hard during the tournament. Serena Wiegmann's done a fantastic job getting them to where they are now. Hopefully she can take it to the next step with a World Cup, which is coming up next year, I believe. And bring them up onto the world stage as a real threat to the top teams like the USA, who actually were playing in a friendly on the 7th of October at Wembley. I looked at tickets on Wednesday, actually trying to get tickets for it, but they sold out on the day. Apart from, I think there's some hospitality tickets left, but just shows what an impact the result on Sunday has had on women's football and what it's likely to have on women's football. So yeah, brilliant for people like Ellen White and Jill Scott, who've been involved for quite some time. It may be their last hurrah. Maybe a little bit unlucky for someone like Steph Houghton's been England captain for such a long time, missed out on his tournament. Well, she'll play for England again, I don't know, but she's been a big part of the journey as well, so she should get a mention in the credits as well. And we've got the new upcoming stars such as Ella Toon, I've already mentioned, and Alessia Russo. That back heel in the semi-final was amazing against Sweden. And you've got Georgie Stanway as well, people like Leah Williamson, the new captain. So we've got Mary Earps, the goalkeeper. Inspiring a lot of people, young women, hopefully all children, not just young girls, but young lads as well, to take up football. So yeah, fantastic achievement for the girls after such a long time waiting to win a major trophy. So brilliant stuff. Okay, so we'll come back to the football in a little while. Before we move on, I would say if anybody wants me to do more coverage on ladies football or interested in me making more of an effort in putting that, needs to let me know. I mean, obviously it needs to be more than one or two people. It needs to be quite a few people. But let me know in the comments below on either Facebook or Twitter or on YouTube. And don't forget on YouTube to subscribe and subscribe and share all the videos that I do. Just like to say, last week's video was the most viewed video I've had for quite some time, definitely for this year anyway, and I'd like to try and get it back to the levels it had when I first did these videos, because I've been doing this now for around 2 years, just short 2 years. So I do appreciate all the people that follow and make the effort to talk to me about it, and tell me that they enjoy watching it. So thank you for that. But yeah, we'll come back to the football in a moment. We'll go on to the cricket for now and look back at the last week's Halifax Cricket League action. And Copley continue their journey along the way at the top of the table. They had another victory. They beat Sorbie Bridge by 45 runs in their game. Also a good result for Illingworth. They're second and they're 13 points behind Copley. They beat Thornton, who were third, so that was a big result for them. They beat by 66 runs. I think that was one that's amended by Duckworth Lewis because the weather interfered slightly there. In the other games, Mytholmroyd beat Bradshaw by 2 wickets, so Bradshaw's season's improving massively at the moment. They also, at this point, I want to say congratulations to Mytholmroyd on winning the Vocation T20 tournament final last Sunday. They beat Booth at Sorbie Bridge to win that competition, and they'll be looking for a quick fire double this Sunday when they take on Warley in the massive Parish Cup final, 1 p.m. Sunday at Blackley. So if you want to go and watch a good game of cricket between two local sides vying for a major prize, get yourself along to Blackley on Sunday afternoon. Hopefully the weather won't intervene too much. And yeah, so that's well done to Mytholmroyd there. And the other games from last Saturday to go back, Booth actually beat SBCI by 38 runs. London Foot beat Great Horton Park Chapel by 61 runs. And in the other game, Triangle beat Warley by 76 runs. Now that's a good result for Triangle because it helps them close the gap at the bottom of the table. Warley take place above them in the table, so they've closed the gap to 14 points, and it probably gives them a little bit more hope of getting out of those bottom two spots with, I think there's 7 games still to go, something like that. So looking at the details from some of the games then from last weekend, we'll just start with the Ludfoot game. London Foot 260 all out. James Stott scoring 59, he was the man with the bat, along with Jacob Whitehouse 49 and Oliver Hosker 45, so good contributions from 3 of them there. And then Great Horton Park Chapel 199 all out. Dan Pummel, 94 from him. Good effort from him. It wasn't quite enough. And a guy we've not mentioned before, Redford Holsworth, he took 5 for 38 for Ludfoot to get them over the line. So a good result for them there. Bradshaw Mytholmroyd. Bradshaw batted first. They were 103 all out. Piers Fisher got almost half the total and he's only scored 50. It was Joe Kershaw who did the damage with the ball for Mytholmroyd. He took 5 for 34, so well done to Joe. Mytholmroyd got to their revised target of 100, I think it was. They got 104 for 8, mainly due to a 7th wicket partnership between Hassan and Ralph, and they scored quite a few runs between them, but that was a little bit of a collapse before that, but they saw them home, those two. Mickey Hustler doing some damage with the ball. He took 4 for 22, but it wasn't enough to stop Mytholmroyd coming out with the spoils there, so well done to Mytholmroyd. Copley, 231 all out, and then we got Sawbridge 186 for 8 for Copley. Will Rushton, the keeper, he scored 106. Ollie Thorpe contributed 45. With the ball, it was John Brown 4 for 23 and Ashish Sharma with 4 for 66. They were the two men who got dismissed Copley, but they didn't do it quickly enough, unfortunately. If you look at it from the point of view from the Sawbridge batsman, or the fact that Copley's bowlers did damage. Gav Whip took 3 for 50, and James Taylor scored 81 unbeaten for Sawbridge, but they were 46 for 6 at one point in the game, so it's top order batting again. Batting's been a problem all season for Sawbridge, really, so they've got obviously working on it, but there's still more work to be done there. Booth, 211 for 9 against SBC High, 173 for 9. So Booth coming out on top here. Rich Laycock had a big say in this game. He scored 79 with the bat and he took 5 for 45 with the ball. Rob Laycock also contributed 40 to the Booth total of 211. It was Ollie Benson with 5 for 50 and Tom Wood 3 for 39 that did most of the bowling damage for SBCI. When it came around to their turn to bat, Tom Wood scored 74. He was the only real contributor, and I've already mentioned what damage Rich Laycock did with his 5 for 45. So saw them on fairly comfortably really there. Illingworth in the game against Thornton, the battle of the second and third places. Illingworth 219 all out. Thornton surprisingly somewhat 136 all out. Another good score, a century for Gaz Fellows. I think he broke some kind of club record with 117 in this game. Brad Weatherhead did his best to stem the flow, and he took 5 for 53, and Greg Soames took 4 for 45, so 9 wickets between the pair of them. I think the other one might have been a run out, but they were the only two I think took any wickets. But yeah, they restricted Illingworth to 219, but then when they batted, they only scored 136. Jordan Croft scored 33, but it was Jamie Morehouse with 3 for 49, and Matty Smith, who's been a regular contributor with both bat and ball this season, he took 3 for 36, and that was enough to see Illingworth get the points there, or the major share of the points. And then the last game, Triangle, 299 for 4. Great performance. Adam Stocks, 125 not out. Star of the show there for him, for Triangle. And then Warley, 223 for 7. A vain effort to try and get there. We got 59 from Nolan Bottomley. Milton Greenwood contributed an unbeaten 54. And Connor Mitchell also an unbeaten 43. But it wasn't quite enough. And also, Toby Cliff actually contributed 45 unbeaten, but it just wasn't enough. 4 decent contributions, but they couldn't really get near Triangle's total, so they found themselves well short of what they really needed to be. So in terms of the table, like I say, Copley have got 157, Illingworth 144, Thornton have got 133, Bradshaw 126. They're the ones that I've written down. I think Ludfoot have got 120 as well, so it's getting a bit closer between the middle teams now. There's still plenty of time to go though, but Copley will be confident if they can keep any kind of form going, they're going to win the title. So yeah, let's see how it pans out. In terms of this weekend's action, the games tomorrow, Booth are at home to Sawbridge Bridge, Bradshaw are at home to Great Horton Park Chapel, Copley are at home to Mytholmroyd, London Foot are at home to Thornton, Triangle are at home to Sawbridge Bridge Church Institute, and Warley are at home to Illingworth St Mary's. So they're the games for tomorrow. Just to mention, there's a competition with Cricket Yorkshire with regards to teas at the at the games. And I know Great Horton Park Chapel are a big fan of Janice at Bradshaw, and they've been bigging her up. And hopefully Bradshaw will have submitted their entry for this competition, because she must be with a good shout of winning it. So Janice the tea lady, big shout out to her. Okay, moving on now from the local league into the national scene. England lost their T20 series against South Africa by 2-1. They capitulated, chasing down South Africa on Sunday. They were all out for 101, fell well short of the South African total, so they lost the series 2-1. it's not been a good start for Joss Butler and Matthew Motts. They've not won anything since Moe Morgan's basically relinquished the captaincy, and Ben Stokes has retired from playing in the 50 over game. So not good, but hopefully things will improve as we get nearer to the T20 World Cup. I'm probably still playing around with what kind of team should be out there. There'll be some people saying that the current lineup isn't, the batting's not performing at the top. Johnny Bairstow basically carried them in the T20 series. He was top scorer in all 3 games, and even he could only manage his standards a meagre 34 in the last game. So disappointing, but you need to look at that. Yorkshire started their one-day cup games with a victory against Northampton. A good century there from Will Frayne. I think it was like 143 not out. Good performance there. He was also a top scorer in the second game with 41, but that was a disappointing 7-wicket defeat to Lancashire yesterday. So Lancashire always seem to have a strong team in the one-day games, the 50 over and 20 over game. In fact, they're pretty strong all round. But Yorkshire need to be looking at making some strengthening over the winter, I think, because they've been quite poor. When you look behind the top players they've got who've been out on international duty, the base players aren't perhaps up to the standard required for a team that are in the first division of the county championship. Maybe the off-field stuff's interfered, but I'm not going to go into that here. Okay, right, so that's it for the cricket for this week. I think I've covered everything there. Now we're going to move on to talk about... Oh, no, I haven't finished with the cricket. I've lied to you. The 100 started. We've had 2 games so far. Defending champions Southern Brave won the first match on Wednesday night. They beat the Welsh Fire convincingly. Welsh Fire were poor last year. They look like we could be poor again this season. And the second game last night, a really exciting end to it. It looked like the London Spirit got the game sewn up, but it actually ended up going to a last ball decider against the Oval Invincibles, and who needed 6 off a last ball. But luckily Jordan Thompson come up with a good ball to secure a victory for London Spirit. So there are 2 matches that have been played so far. Tonight's game, I believe, is Northern Derby between the Manchester Originals and the Northern Superchargers, who are based in Leeds. So might have a watch about tonight if I get a chance when I finish everything else I'm doing today. The women's tournament starts on the 11th of August because the current little ladies are away taking part in the Commonwealth Games. So that's something to bear in mind as well. So that is all the cricket now. And we're going to move on to talk about football now, because it's a big weekend in the world of football, because both the National League and the Premier League start. The reason why I started with National League is because my team, Halifax Town, my main team, Halifax Town, and their first game's tomorrow away to Barnet. They've named Tom Clarke, who signed last weekend, as the new captain on the field, and their off-field club captain is Sam Johnson, our longest serving player. So we've got that game at Barnet tomorrow. Chris Millington, the manager's hoping to add 1 more striker. He said there's been rumours it may be Angelo Balenta, who's been playing at Dagenham and Redbridge for a few seasons now. He's a good player. I've seen him play a few times. He's always done damage to Town when he's played against us. He's injured at the moment, according to Dagenham. Whether that's just a ruse, because a lot of players seem to get injured suddenly before they go to another team. So keep your eyes on that one. But hopefully we can get 1 more striker in. Whether it's in time for tomorrow, I don't know. Also, maybe a couple of departures yet. There was a Q&A session last night at the Shea with Chris Millington, the chairman, Mr. Buzzenworth, and also Andy Cooper, the assistant manager. And they were saying there could still be a chance for some of the players to go. He didn't say they would do, but obviously the transfer window's open until the end of August, so keep your eyes on departures as well as incoming still. So yeah, good luck to the Shaman tomorrow in the first game. The first home game of the week tomorrow against Torquay, and hopefully season tickets should be ready within the next few days, because obviously we've got the first home game in 8 days time from now. Another thing to point out to the fans who are travelling to Barnet tomorrow is you need to buy your tickets in advance. You cannot pay on the day in cash, so you need to be aware of that. So there's no pay on the day, so please be aware of that. Okay, looking at the Premier League now then, the first games tonight. We've got Crystal Palace against Arsenal at 8 PM kickoff live on Sky Sports. We've got 5 live games over the weekend. We've got tomorrow lunchtime, we've got the game between Fulham and Liverpool at Craven Cottage. That's a BT Sport live game. The Saturday tea time game, 5:30 kickoff on Sky Sports, is Everton versus Chelsea. And we've got 2 games on Sunday as well. We've got Manchester United against Brighton at Old Trafford at 2 PM, and then you've got the London Stadium for the game at 4:30 between West Ham and Manchester City. Get to see Erling Haaland's Premier League debut on Sunday, probably. Good luck to Villa in their game at Bournemouth tomorrow. Leeds take on Wolves as well, so that's a couple more games I can think of off the top of my head. So good luck to all the teams taking to the field for the first time tomorrow. I won't go on about them taking the knee, because they've changed the way they're going to do that. They're all going to do it on certain games. They are going to do it the first game of the season. I think they're going to do Boxing Day. There's a couple of designated days, which are anti-racism days, one in October and one in March. But it's a bit of a scattergun approach to that this season by the looks of it. But they are looking to find other ways to look at eradicating racism for the game. But I'll just leave that there, I think. So that's where we are with the football. Elsewhere, Commonwealth Games are underway, going really well for Team England. Australia are top of the medals chart, so they were last night when I looked. So I'll just have a quick look now and see what's what in terms of how many gold medals each country have got now. It was 50 to 42 to Australia when I looked last night. So let's have a look, see where it tells me. So it's still saying that now, 50 to 42. Australia got a total 132 medals. England have got 42, 44, 118 altogether there, so 132 versus 118. That's good. They're well clear of Canada in third place on 17 golds and New Zealand 16. And honorary mention to Scotland with 7 golds, 8 silvers and 19 bronzes. That's a pretty good effort, I've got to say. Well done to local girl Hannah Cockcroft on winning a gold. It's the first time she's won a gold at the Commonwealth Games and completes a full set of medals for in major games, so well done Hannah. Elsewhere, Speedway, and it was the Speedway of Nations final last week, which is basically the equivalent of World Cup. It's like the World Pairs, and Team GB put up a brave fight to try and defend the title they won last year at the National Speedway Stadium in Manchester. This time they managed to get straight through to the final. They finished top of the scoring in the final qualifying heats, but when it comes to the final, they lost out to Australia for the gold medal, so a brave effort. Considering also they lost Ty Woofenden to a training incident or training accident on Friday, which meant they only had 2 riders, but Robert Lambert and Dan Bewley did themselves and the country proud by their performances, and they came up just short, but a fantastic effort. Well done to Max Frick, Jack Holder and Jason Doyle. Or Jason Doyle didn't actually ride in the final, he was the captain but didn't ride. The other 2 did all the riding. And well done to Mark Lemon, 20 years as the manager or involved with Australia. Team Australia has actually won the gold medal, so well done to Lemo. That's good for them. In the Speedway Nations 2, the under-21 competition night before, also Team GB managed a bronze medal in that, mainly due to the efforts of Tom Brennan. Tom's in a really good vein of form at the moment. He was back in, after riding in that, I think he scored about 20 points. In that meeting to help get the bronze medal. The meeting was won by Poland. Czechia or Czech Republic was second. Jan Kvek rode fantastically in that meeting, and his partner, what's he called? I can't remember his name. Pavel Chuk or whatever he's called. I can't remember his name. He did really well, but he had a bit of an engine problem in the final. Would have won it, so Poland were a little bit lucky to win it in the end up, but they did. They were the pre-meeting favourites anyway, so yeah, well done to the under-21 GB lads. Well done. Also mentioned Leon Flint, who didn't get a ride, and Drew Kemp, who scored the rest of the points. He had a ride. I think Leon Flint should really have been given at least 1 or 2 rides, but the management, I think Neil Thatcher's the main man there, he decided to stick with Drew Kemp. I would have changed it to Leon Flint, but that's just my personal point of view. So there you go. And on Monday we had the British final, or an attempt to run the British final at the National Speedway Stadium in Manchester. That turned out to be a bit of a disaster. We got through 12 heats. They got to the point where they should have been able to declare a result, but they couldn't work out how to get to a satisfactory result. So what they've done is decided to rerun the meeting in full from scratch, so it's null and void. And the wild card for Cardiff goes to last year's British champion Adam Ellis, who didn't get a chance to race there last year, so I suppose in that respect it's sort of the only decision they could come to. I've got to say I don't think on current form he deserves it, but you know, he's merited it from previous years, so you've got to go for the most, you know, sensible decision. That's what they've done. It's a shame they couldn't have come up with an answer to the 3 riders at the top of the charts on the night. Maybe they could have had a quick final between the Brennan, Harris and Dan Bewley, along with Danny King, who was on 7, I think. I don't know if he could have done that or not, but it's more they talked about it, the less chance there were of the meeting continuing, because the weather got worse and worse very quickly. So people who went to the meeting, I believe, will get a £10 refund towards the next when it's restaged. My view in that is it should be a full refund. The meeting's been declared null and void. I know the costs have got to be covered for the riders, well, the expenses at least, but you know, the fans are going to be seeing it as being taken advantage of again. And Speedway could do with all the best publicity it can get at the moment. It's not in the best place in this country as it stands. So, yeah, something perhaps that the Speedway GB should be looking at, and the you know, the promotions behind it as well. So that's where we are with Speedway. In the World Stock Cars, the first World Championship semi-final took place last Saturday at Odsal Stadium in Bradford. It was won by Paul Hines. Matt Newsom was leading, but unfortunately he had to pull out of the race. I don't know if he had a flat tyre, had some kind of problem where it forced him out of the race. So Paul Hines won that. Ryan Harrison has been banned. He originally was given a 3-meeting ban. He appealed that. He's now been banned for the rest of the season. Personally, I think that's really way too harsh. I think most people do. But it's not my decision. The ORCI board met to convene and they put a very harsh suspension on Ryan. I know a lot of people don't like him. I think a lot of it's that same with Tom Harris. It's jealousy towards them. They're by far the best two drivers at stock cars at the moment. So the meeting final on Saturday, by the way, was won by Frankie Wayman Jr. This weekend we've got a weekender at Mildenhall. There's also a Formula 2 meeting. Formula 2 World of Shale final is being held at Odsal. That's tomorrow, Saturday evening. So if you want to get along to that, good luck. It should be a good meeting. A world champion Chris Burgoyne's been booked in. Charlie Ginchard, Andy Palmer, some of the top shale specialists. You've also got the junior bangers on. I think you've got the I can't remember if you've got the Rebels on. You've definitely got Robin Reliance on. So should be a good night. That should be a good one to get along to. So if you've got nothing to do tomorrow night, get yourself along to Odsal to watch that. And then finally, before we go this week, Formula 1, the last weekend's Grand Prix in Hungary was won by Max Verstappen. I think if it had been a couple more laps to go and there'd been more rain a little bit earlier, Lewis Hamilton may have caught him. He's good in the wet and he were catching him, he took 2 or 3 seconds out of him last lap. So good result for Hamilton. He come through from second, although obviously to second. Verstappen started in 10th, so good for him as well. And George Russell was third, so good result overall for Mercedes really. So yeah, I think that's just about all for this week's podcast. I hope you've enjoyed watching as always, and like I say, I'm really appreciative of people who take the time to even just watch probably 2 or 3 minutes of this every week or every other week. So please continue to support me. I do put a lot of effort into it and I do appreciate it. Just want to give a quick shout out also to From the Horse's Mouth magazine. That's a magazine owned by my friend Dean Charlton. I write a monthly sports article which previews the forthcoming month's sporting events across the world, the major events. So if you want to have a look at that, there's a link back to the podcast in there actually. So yeah, From the Horse's Mouth website, the August magazine's just been published. Take a look at that and you might find some other stuff in there you're interested in. You know, it's not just about sport, isn't that? So, but thanks again, appreciate all the support in all aspects of the stuff I do online, and until next week, thank you very much. Bye for now.